Lecture 7, where we will go over the diversity and characteristics of fungi. Fungi can play very important roles in the environment. As stated earlier, many species are known to be decomposers, where they can recycle nutrients back into the ecosystem by breaking down organic matter in the surrounding environment. Fungi can also be mutualists, and many form beneficial relationships through close association with other organisms, as we've seen in plants, with the mycorrhizal fungi. They can also be parasites and act as pathogens that benefit at the expense of a host species. Fungi are known to break down a wide variety of substances, such as cellulose, lignin, and even jet fuel. Along with bacteria, fungi are responsible for breaking down much of the organic matter in the environment and releasing elements such as carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus back into the ecosystem. When released back into the ecosystem, other organisms and trophic levels can utilize these nutrients. Bottom line is, without fungi, life would not exist. Fungi can also be important mutualists. They can form very beneficial relationships with plants, algae, cyanobacteria, as well as animals. Once again, the common example of this relationship is looking at the role of mycorrhizal fungi and how they can increase the nutrient absorption in plant roots, allowing for the success of plants in harsher environments when they would not be able to access such nutrients in the soil. Fungi can also form many different mutualistic relationships with plants. Almost all plant species are known to contain endophytes, which can be either fungal or bacterial-based organisms that live within the plants. However, they do not cause the plant any harm. These typically involve ascomycete or mercuromycete species. In this instance, the fungi can produce toxins that deter predators from consuming the plants, or they can produce chemicals that increase their resistance to pathogens. Fungi are also known to increase plants' tolerance levels to extreme conditions. Some fungi can have mutualistic relationships with animals. They can live in the gut of organisms and help in their digestion of hard-to-digest materials. An example of this relationship involves the relationship between fungus and leafcutter ants. Leafcutter ants will bring leaf fragments back to the nest and feed it to the fungi. The fungi in turn produces hyphae that secretes nutrient-rich secretions that the ants feed on. The fungi also is important in neutralizing any toxins in the plant that would actually harm or kill the ants. This relationship has evolved so that both species are dependent upon each other. We call this an obligate mutualistic relationship. Lichens exhibit a distinct relationship with fungi. A lichen results from a symbiotic relationship between a photosynthetic organism and a fungal species. In this instance, millions of photosynthetic cells are contained within the mass of fungal hyphae. This typically involves unicellular or filamentous green algae or cyanobacterium combined with a fungal species within the ascomycete phylum. Less common representatives may form a relationship with glomerulomycetes and basidiomycetes. Some lichens may even have a second fungal partner species, such as yeast. The algae or cyanobacterium provides carbon and nitrogen compounds in the relationship, while the fungi provides a suitable environment that promotes growth and also increases nutrient uptake. Lichens can take many forms, but this is usually dictated by the fungal structure itself. These species can grow on many surfaces and are commonly found on rocks, rotting logs, trees, and roofs. Many of these are considered to be pioneers, meaning that when an environment changes, these are one of the first species to colonize the area. Many of them will change the environment and allow for secondary successional species to occur. Lichens can produce sexually and asexually. In asexual reproduction, fragmentation of the parental lichen will occur. Clusters of hyphae with embedded algae, called Ceridia, will release haploid spores that will then disperse, germinate, and reproduce. However, they can also reproduce sexually. In sexual reproduction, an ascocarp will be produced that will end up releasing ascospores. Most of the parasitic fungi are parasitic on plants, however, a few fungal species are known to be parasitic on animals. Parasitic fungi is the main cause of plant blight, as seen in the diagram to the right. This can cause major damage to many fruit and vegetable crops, as well as decreasing overall yields. Some fungi can release toxins that are known to be harmful if consumed. Claviceps purpurea, which is an ascomycete, can cause ergotism if an infected rye is milled into flour and is then consumed. Mycosis refers to a fungal infection in animals. This typically includes ringworm and athlete's foot. Some parasitic fungi are known to be opportunistic. This means that they are present in the normal environment, however, they become pathogenic when the environment or the host immune system changes. An example of this is Candida albicans, which is a normal inhabitant of epithelial linings. However, it can become pathogenic if the pH changes or the faunal growth of the environment changes and the population of Candida albicans grows too rapidly. This is one of the most common causes of yeast infections in females. Systemic mycosis may occur if a fungal infection spreads throughout the body. This may even be fatal. This is typically caused through the inhalation of spores. Coccidioidomycosis, or valley fever, causes tuberculosis-like symptoms in lungs. This is an infection that is typically caused by the inhalation of the fungus Coccidioides, which is known to live in soil in the southwestern U.S. Fungi can have many practical uses. We know that many of them are ecologically important as decomposers, but we can also use them for human consumption, for ripening cheese, making bread, or alcoholic beverages. Various strains of Saccharomyces cerevisiae can be cultured into baker's or brewer's yeast. Certain truffles, like this black truffle seen here, are highly prized in the food industry. Some can release pheromone-like odors that mimic pheromones that are released by male pigs. Thus, they are readily found by female pigs. Some fungi can also have important medical uses. The first antibiotic that was discovered was penicillin, that was produced by the ascomycete Penicillium. Fungi have also been used to manufacture various types of immunosuppressants, cholesterol medications, antibiotics, as well as other types of drugs. Fungi can also be very important in research. S. cerevisiae is considered to be a model organism to study the eukaryotic genome. It can study homologous genes such as those involved in Parkinson's disease, and they can also be used to produce insulin-like growth factor. Gliocladium roseum, seen here, is known to produce hydrocarbons that are similar to diesel, making it a potential organism to produce biofuels. This last slide gives you a review of the fungal phylums that we examine. The two basal species, Cryptomycota and Microsporidia, as well as the Chirtids, Zupagomycota, Micuromycota, Ascomycota, and Basidiomycota. Note the presence of the distinguishing features highlighted in the chart below. Also, please review the phylogenetic tree represented to the right.